Good morning, good morning. Happy Memorial Day to those who celebrate. I am making breakfast and trying to figure out how to be actually productive today, because today is another one of those days where I have nothing on the schedule, and I definitely gotta start my photography back up or something. Well, I was planning on doing that anyway, but like, I'm bored. Welcome to year 5 of daily vlogging. Am I watching my own Disney vlogs back? Yes. I love Disney. This is the last book too that I'm rereading in the series before I move on, so I'm sure, I am gonna book my cruise though. I have to call tomorrow and do that. I'm gonna do it. It's gonna happen. Yeah, but then I think my obsession will dwindle a tiny bit as I read other books, and there's a lot of months until November, so. Well, today I did do something productive, which was email the first 3 people for the first 3 weeks of July for Breaking Character, and the only reason I didn't do the other 2, I have them figured out, I just haven't contacted them because I don't know when filming for the feature film is going to start, and the earliest it would start is the middle of July, they've told me now, because pre-production has, I think location scouting has taken a little bit longer than they originally thought it would. Either way, but now the earliest they would start is the middle of July, and since I would like to be up there for the start of it, I'm going to put Breaking Character on a hiatus, as I said before, and I just don't know when that's going to start. So I figured I would contact the first 3 because at this point I know I can do that and that can be done, and then I'll just contact the other 2 as more information comes out, or that's when the hiatus will start. I'm not really sure. Anyway, but I finished rereading the Kingdom Keepers series. Haha, there it is. And now, in a complete 180, I have decided the next one I'm going to read, I'm not going to start reading it tonight, but will be The Shining, Stephen King's The Shining, because that is the next one on my list of Stephen King books to read. And in fact, if I was correct in looking at my records from last year, I did not read a single Stephen King book last year. The last one I read was Salem's Lot, which is the one that he wrote before The Shining, so I have high hopes for The Shining because the #1 bestseller was made into a movie that a lot of people love and all of that, so I have high hopes for it. I am going to organize some more photos, put on another Disney movie. I don't know which one, I'll figure it out, but yeah. I have decided on Toy Story, because why not? I always forget that they have extras. Oh my gosh, like, well, for Toy Story, I know they don't have as many because this was released in, when? 1990. That's insane. I didn't realize that was 6 years before I was born. And I grew up on this movie. I don't know why. This series of movies. I know some people weren't a fan of Toy Story 4, or they were like, it's not necessary. I loved it. I love all the Toy Story movies so much. I don't know if you guys know this, but when my dad made one of the first drives to Texas, there's a photo of him with the Toy Story like toys that we had sitting in the passenger seat with him because he couldn't put him in a box. He was like, I can't put him in a box. Disney! It's so magical. It's so magical. Toy Story was lovely. What's interesting though is, I think I talked on here a little bit ago about how I recently read a script that had a very unlikable protagonist, and not in a like, oh, I don't agree with what they're doing, but I still like empathize or sympathize with them. It was just, to me at least, someone who I was like, wow, I really don't like them. Like, I wouldn't want to watch this film. Well, and I talk about, like, sometimes you do have protagonists who you're like, ooh, I really don't agree with what you're doing, and, like, that's, like, you're not acting very great, but you still watch the movie. I realized Toy Story is a perfect example of that, the first one at least, because, and if you haven't seen Toy Story and you don't want to be spoiled, skip this part, but Toy Story, essentially, is Woody is Andy's favorite toy, and then Buzz comes in and he becomes extremely jealous and worried that Andy is not going to play with him anymore. He's going to throw him away, and he sabotages Buzz essentially and then gets himself in trouble as well. And it takes about a little over half the film for him to realize his arc and realize that it's more important. You know, he tells Buzz, it doesn't matter, you're not an actual space ranger. What matters is that you're Andy's toy and you're there for him and he loves you and whatever. That's what's important. And then he realizes that for him too, that's what he should be thinking. So he has some pretty unlikable moments where you're like, wow, that's really shallow. And I mean, the other toys too are like, we don't want you back in here if you're literally just gonna sabotage us. So no. So he has some pretty low, unlikable moments, more than I remembered, but yet you still watch because you're like, we saw that he was good at the beginning and that it's just jealousy doing this. And sure enough, he learns that it's wrong and he learns not to be jealous or to not show his jealousy or whatever it is, and realize that what's important is that he's there for Andy. So perfect example of having a kind of a character doing some really unlikable things and yet still watching it for them. Anyway, mini screenwriting find tonight, but yes, I'm heading to bed. Tomorrow I have stuff to do. Hallelujah. I have class in the morning, and then we have our Dreamfest drive-in tomorrow night, so that's exciting. Yeah, so anyway, thank you so much for watching. I hope you enjoyed. Social media is in the description. Love you all.